Hello, everybody. I am really excited about this workshop. I love the topic. Afrobeats and analytics is a really cool combination. So I was thrilled to be able to bring Ezene here for her to do this workshop with you guys. So Ezene is a music data analyst and has a lot of great insights in this space. So if you're ready to get a little nerdy with us, I'm going to bring her onto the stage to talk through it all. Thank you, Ezene.
All right. Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you for having me here. And hello, everyone. Yesterday was so lively. I was here and I learned a lot, and I can't wait to share my knowledge with you guys here today. So, basically, what we're going to be talking about, or what we're going to be doing in this workshop, is analytics and the rise of Afrobeat. So, I'm going to be showing you, what data analysis in the music industry looks like to some extent, and then how that has helped in propelling the Afrobeats genre to where it is on the global stage right now. So let's get into it. And my name is Ezine Okeke. I am a music data analyst with Maven Records. Basically, I have had this job role for like a little over 15 months now. So it's literally been a learning process the whole time. I have a background in mathematics and computer science, so maybe that made it literally easy for me to get into data science or data analytics. But a lot of people start from backgrounds that do not relate in any way to data analytics, and then they get in because like once you know what to do, once you are conversant with your tools, once you can connect the dots, you can literally get started. For leisure, I play volleyball. Yes, I play position 3. For those who play volleyball, I'm a middle player, so it's just a lot of jumping and blocking on the court. I'm probably barely hitting the ball because your setter doesn't set for you. So, but then that's by the way. I work for Maven Global Entertainment, otherwise known as Maven Records. So basically, we are a record label. We manage talent. We manage artists, songwriters, producers, and we're based in Lagos, in Nigeria. But I mean, we've gone global because we've been able to, reach out there across the world. We manage global award-winning artists like Rema, Ira Star, Johnny Drill, Crayon, Magix, Bayani, and even our new signee lifestyle steady. Um, we managed Vibes, the producer, and some other songwriters as well that have gone on to win great awards in the Afrobeats genre out there in the world. So literally, we do a really good job at Maven. So I mean, the results speak for us. Um, and then basically, this is what we are going to be getting into today. So that's the introduction, which I have kind of done. And then we're going to be seeing the objectives of why we are gathered here today, basically. And then we're going to talk about Afrobeats, the genre. And then we're going to take a quick look at the Nigerian music scene, what it started as and what it has evolved to become right now. And then we're going to do some little analysis, just to show you how data analysis works in the music industry, even though we're going to be using past data or previous data or historical data, basically. But I just want to show you how a bit of the thought process, or the thought process that goes into processing data in the music industry. Or and then we're going to be looking ahead to the future, how the Afrobeats genre is evolving, or how it's growing, and getting very mainstream, and then how data analysis is going to play a huge role in this. So yeah, now down to the objective. So the first objective of this workshop is literally to show that music data analysis is approachable, could be insightful, and less daunting, contrary to what people might think. People think it's a lot. People think it's too difficult and all that, but it could really be easy. It could also be difficult, but yeah. But the challenging parts are very exciting because there are a lot of things to uncover, and I mean, it's always exciting to uncover new things or new trends or new patterns or new ways that this music is going. Seeing that Afrobeat is a growing genre, And then the second objective is that we're going to identify trends in streaming and audience data, using the case study, I've prepared. And then we're also going to understand the possibilities of data and the future of Afrobeats, in the world. So let's get into it. Basically, initially Afrobeats didn't start out as Afrobeats. It started out as Afrobeat without the S. So Afrobeat was developed in the 70s and the 80s by the king of Afrobeat himself, Fela Kuti, and a few others who helped, champion this cause. Um, Basically the sound blends West African music like the traditional Yoruba, Igbo high life, Fuji that we have here in Nigeria with the American funk, jazz, and soul music. And then it's known for its social commentary lyrics and its bands. And then Afrobeats with the S has now evolved to become the popular music from West Africa, developed in the 2000s and 2010s. Um, it's more commercially accessible and is dance oriented. Because I know that with the Afrobeats sound, no matter how slow it is, no matter how slow it gets, you still catch yourself moving your body to the sound. That's just how the music from Afrobeat has evolved to Afrobeats. And these are other. Now we're just going to focus on Afrobeats because that is the evolved sound. That's the sound that we're exporting now to other parts of the world. That is the sound that is, making waves in other parts of the world. So we have spoken about the genre. It has a repetitive writing style and a similar vocabulary. So, if you're familiar with the Afrobeat genre, if you're familiar with some of the popular music, you can hear that the chorus, the words are repetitive, so it's easy to stick. It's easy to get you in the vibe. It's just there. You just keep saying the words over and over again. So it's really easy to get into. Um, it has energetic party tunes. Sorry. It has energetic party
Sorry,
tunes.
there's something wrong. Please try.
So it has these energetic party tunes that makes you move. Like I said, even if it's slow beat, it's just energetic and it just makes you move. And it's a blend of hip, high life, juju, and all that. And then let's look at some stats about the genre. So, according to Spotify, this data was gotten from Spotify, or a lot of this data was gotten from Spotify. So, according to Spotify, there has been a 550% increase in streams since 2017. And basically, in 2022, the genre did over 13 billion Spotify streams. Just on Spotify, we're not even talking about other streaming platforms. In 2023, it is believed that the genre gathered over 14 billion streams just in 2023. So we can see a lot of growth on the platform, or we can see a lot of growth in this genre. Um, and growth, I mean, always streaming growth, whatever growth the genre does, translates to revenue. And revenue generated from Spotify alone reached over 100 billion Nigerian naira. So basically, that is a big deal. We can see the potential of what this genre can do, or what this genre is doing, and then we're just going to see how we can evolve and make it better, and then export it more into the world. Basically, it also says that the Nigerian music industry revenue grew by 63% between 2021 and 2022. Um, let's see how the Nigerian music scene has looked, over the years. Basically, we have the pioneers like the legendary Fela Kuti and his drummer Tony Allen. So it is believed that Fela Kuti is the father of Afrobeats. I mean, a lot of new contemporary stars say they draw their sound from him, basically. And Tony Allen, innovative and complex rhythms form the backbone of the Afrobeat genre. So basically, Tony Allen was Fela Kuti's drummer. And then they're the pioneers of the genre in the 70s and the 80s. And now we had people who came after them spreading the sound. We have King Sunny Ade, we have Chrissy Essien Ibokwe. She was known as the Lady of Songs because she had these powerful vocals and catchy tunes. And then now we have the contemporary stars. We have Whiskey, Yemi Alade. We have Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy, Rema, Davido, Ira. Most of these people, in fact, all of them we know, and even more musicians that are in the Afrobeats genre. These are the modern global superstars with smooth vocals, with a blend of Afrobeats and other genres like R&B and pop, and they've earned international praise and publicity. These are the new age guys. So basically, this is just a small sample of the made in Nigerian artists that have contributed to the growth of the Afrobeats genre. The scene is constantly evolving. There are new artists emerging all the time. We can't even keep track of that anymore. There's just a lot of new people, a lot of new sounds coming out. So um now let's look at the timeline. When we're talking growth, we have to look at, from the 2010s to where we are now. So basically, in 2013, Fuse releases Antenna. I'm sure we're familiar with. I don't know if we know the song Antenna. It was really a big deal here in Nigeria, even in Ghana. It was a big deal. It was a global hit, and it peaked at number 7 on the UK singles chart. And then in 2016, we all know One Dance, Drake fit Whiskey. It became the first. Whiskey became the first Nigerian artist to land the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 because of his feature on the song. And then 2018, Whiskey went on to headline the African Republic Festival and sold out the O2 Arena. That was the first Afrobeat show in the UK. In 2019, Davido sold out the O2 Arena as the first solo Afrobeat act to do this. So, I mean, that was just 5 years ago. And then in 2021, we see Burna Boy win the Grammy Award in the Best Global Music Album category for his album Twice as Tall. And then Wizkid also won a Grammy for Best Music Video in his feature with Beyonce, Brown Skin Girl. And then 2022, eventually the world has to make space for this new sound, this sound that is taking over the world. So Billboard launched the Billboard US Afrobeat Song Charts. And then in 2023, Rama's Calm Down, feat Selena Gomez, like we all know, did in September of 2023 did over 1 billion streams on Spotify, thereby joining the Spotify billions club, billions gang, and then being the first Afrobeats African artist led track to hit 1 billion streams ever. So there's just a lot of groundbreaking feats that the genre has been doing so far with all the creatives involved in pushing this genre. I mean, from the results and from the world making way, from the growth, from the performance, we can see that people are we can see that the hard work of the creatives in this space are not to waste. Like it's being recognized globally, and then when you are recognized for something, you want to do more. Everybody wants to do more and see how we can dominate. So basically, um yes, now we're going to get into the deep dive. So this is the we're getting into the analytics part gradually, and this is the part that lights me up because I mean this is where I come in the music industry. So we are going to be speaking about, or we're going to be seeing how accessible Afrobeats genre is accessible. Accessibility of the genre, what has factors that has contributed to the growth. We're going to talk about growth. The global reach of Afrobeats has had a lot to do with the power of social media platforms. So we're going to be talking about this platform that has facilitated the growth of this genre. We are going to be taking a little data deep dive to analyze, we're going to analyze some data to show how this genre grows, basically just from a little standpoint. And then we're going to be looking ahead into the future because we have seen the sound make tremendous growth over the past 5 to 6 years, and then we're going to see what is going to be in the future. So let's get into it. Now, when it comes to accessibility, in the digital age, technology and social media have become powerful catalysts for the global reach of Afrobeat. So, digital platforms like YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music have provided platform for African artists to share their music. Um, this data visualization we can see on the screen was gotten from Spotify, and 90% of Afrobeats fans that were interviewed believe that the genre will continue to evolve. And then a huge number of them say international collaborations has facilitated the growth. About 27% say international collaborations have facilitated the growth of this genre. 26% say social media has facilitated the growth of this genre. Um, 16% say better music quality, online streaming, Africans in diaspora, and other factors. And then top five cities globally for the Afrobeats genre in 2022 was Lagos. I mean, it's the home to Afrobeat. So yes, it's only right that Lagos is the number one city. Then we have London, Paris, Abuja, and Nairobi. So basically, this data was gathered from about 34 countries across the world. So this is what people say about the genre. This is what people say has contributed to the growth of the genre. But yes, it is undeniable that the growth of the music industry has been largely influenced by technology and social media. So, to help us see or measure this growth, we are going to have a mini case study where we're going to be looking at how the song "Love Wantinti" by CK, released in 2019, was and eventually went on to become the first Afrobeats song to top the global Shazam charts in 2021. That is literally almost 2 years after release. We're going to be looking at streaming growth and how what influenced this growth, how that affected the artist growth, the audience growth, and every other thing that went on around that period. It's just a little insight to how data analysis in the music industry works. And I am my primary job function is in the marketing department. So basically, what I do is that I look at the data and help the marketing department, make fast and easy, fast decisions, fast data-driven decisions, especially when we're running campaigns, when we're having releases, when we're having active campaigns in the market. So basically, what I have to do as a data analyst is to be on top of things, to see how things are going, to understand trends and patterns, to understand the audience sentiment, so we can pivot where necessary, or we can put more energy where necessary. Um, Now, to help me do this, I have to figure out what data sources I have access to. And in the music industry, there are a lot of data sources. I call these ones the primary data sources because they are supplied by the streaming platforms and the social media platforms. These are, the primary places that everything is happening. So, streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, AudioMac, Pandora, Boomplay, Amazon Music, whichever one you have, they usually provide the artist or the record label or anybody who is supposed to have access to the back end, so where we can see analytics and what's happening, with the music or with whatever you're doing. And then when it comes to social media, I mean, a lot of us are on social media, so we can see our analytics, we can see the back end, and that's a primary data source because you can just look at it as it's happening and then see what's happening and know what you can do. And for these primary data sources, there are different ways of extracting data from these sources. But when it comes to data extraction, you have to understand what type of data you want to extract, for your analysis. So, do you want structured data? Also, understanding depth of data you want to extract is I mean, you have to understand what kind of data your data source is giving you, so you know what to extract and how you want to extract, or you know what type of data you are going to be extracting. So, for instance, some of them give you the structured data in tables, in spreadsheets, or in CSV formats that you can easily just use and plug in and do your analysis whenever you want. And some are unstructured data. So they could be text from websites. For instance, when we want to conduct sentiment analysis on Twitter, you basically have to scrape, text data, to understand what the audience is saying, or how the audience, what sentiment the audience have about your music, or whatever you want to use that for. And then we have the semi-structured data like XML and JSON. And a lot of times when I get semi-structured data, I try to convert it to a simple format that I can use to conduct my analysis in the simplest and easiest way possible, because we're not trying to complicate things at any time. And then you have to understand where this data is located. Where can you get this data? Is it available on databases? And if it is, you have to use structured query languages to literally query your data and then extract it, or do whatever you want to do. Is it on websites? Is it stored on a cloud storage or on-premise storage, or do you have to conduct API calls to extract your data? And when you have answered a question, you need to understand what your skill level is. I mean, you cannot go to extract large data, or you can't go to extract data where you do not have the skill level to be able to understand what the data is, or how to process it, or what to do with the data. That would be totally useless to you. And then you need to understand what your skill level is. Are you a beginner? Are you comfortable with point and click tools? Are you an intermediate? Can you write basic codes? Um, Maybe querying, maybe when you have to interact with databases, so structured query languages, can you do that? Are you advanced? Are you proficient in programming languages like Python, R, and all the rest we have out there? And then when you have figured that, you have to know what is your budget. So if you do not have access to these primary data sources, sometimes you can have free tools that you can use in scraping data from these sources. I mean, you could literally use Spotify for developers to scrape data from Spotify. Um, some other platforms, there are a lot of other tools out there that are free for you to scrape data from websites, and some of them are paid. So you have paid options, to extract data. So you have to know what your budget is, or what you have access to, to be able to extract data. Then when you have figured that out, you have to understand your data extraction options. I mean, I just spoke about tools. So we have, is your data, or are your tools cloud based? And is your data cloud based? Is it on premise? Is it open source? Or do you need web scraping tools like Scrapey to be able to get your data for analysis? Do you need to use manual methods like exporting from databases or spreadsheets? Do you have to copy and paste data from websites? You have to use APIs provided by data sources, like I said, Spotify. And then, or do you have to code? Do you have to write little lines of code to be able to extract your data, to be able to clean your data, or to wrangle your data in the way you need it to be? Basically, you just have to answer those questions and understand it before you go ahead, to get data. And then there are other secondary data sources that have made it really easy for us to be able to have access to music streaming data at any time. Some of these data sources literally already analyze and present this in report format, in dashboard format, so you can just have a quick glance and know what's going on, and then know what to do. So you don't have to go through all the stress of extraction and cleaning and analysis and all that. You just look at any of these tools. There are a lot more tools out there now. So basically, these tools just present this data in an already processed format, and then they've already aggregated them, and then you just use the tools easily. So now that we have figured out data sources, we're just going to go ahead to data points. Now, in the music industry, there are a lot of data points. I think that was the one thing I had to get comfortable with, because I was just coming from Geo Solutions, and I'm thinking, how hard could it be? But when I got into the music industry, I realized that there are a lot of data points, you could be looking at, and all those data points are rapidly changing. They are fast changing, especially when you have a live campaign going on, and you have to stay on top of the trends. You have to stay on top of data. You have to stay on top of whatever is happening. So basically, these are some data points that I collect or I look at whenever I'm conducting like an analysis, or I'm looking at just what's happening there. So we get streaming data. There's listeners data to understand how your listeners are listening to your music, where they're coming from. That's geographical data. So you need to understand where your listeners are coming from, how they are listening to your music, what they're doing, and other all that. And then there's chat data to know, okay, you do not know if you're doing bad or if you're doing good if you don't benchmark against something. So chat data helps us understand where we are in the music industry, or where we are largely in the industry. So you could be you could be having like maybe a million streams, but what does the chat say? Are other people having 10 million streams? Is sorry, are the numbers, you might feel like you're doing good, but if you don't benchmark it against something, you literally can't tell, if your performance is good or bad. So we look at chat data to understand if, performance is good and what we can do to make it better as usual, because we always strive for more. And then we look at social media engagement data. We want to understand how fans are interacting with us, because now it's not just about music marketing or songs marketing. We don't just do marketing when we have an active release or an active campaign. We do artist marketing because as an artist, you have to market yourself all the time. So we always have to understand what's happening on social media. We always understand. We always have to look at what your fans are saying, what people are saying about your music, how people feel about whatever is happening around you. So you know how to pivot, how to stay on top of trends, and how to stay relevant in your market. And then we also analyze ticket sales data, because I mean, at the end, as artists, or as record labels, we want to connect with the fans. We want to go meet the fans where they are. We want to show our fans that we care about them. So we are going to meet them where they are. So we look at ticket sales, how we can go to different territories, and connect with fans. So ticket sales data helps us understand what we can do or how we can do. So for instance, if we've already had a tour and then we had ticket sales, we use the data to understand what we can do better, if we met our targets, or if the sales matched with whatever we thought was happening on the streaming end, on the digital end. If it doesn't, then we need to know where the disconnect is coming from. And then everything ties back down to revenue, because you want to make money from your craft. We want to make money from our crafts. That is why we are doing what we do. So we have to look at revenue data. We have to look at all the sources of revenue, which platform is giving us the most revenue, and then we double down on those ones, because like those are easy low hanging fruits for you. And then which platform can you maximize your strategies on, so you can earn more revenue. So at the end point of everything, we want to make money. That is why we are here. And then basically, now that we have known these data points and data sources, so for this analysis, it's just a really brief one. It's just to show you how my thought process goes sometimes. So I'm just going to go back to this song, Love Wantinty by CK. So basically, this song was released in 2019, in August of 2019, and it just had a slow start and a slow continuity till 2021, when it broke out. And then it took the Nigerian music industry by surprise, because why is a song that was released 648 days ago just popping now? What happened? What might have caused it? What did the artist do? What did anybody do to make this happen? And understanding this sometimes helps us break out old songs in our catalog, because there's something we do. We look at old songs on our catalog and see how we can remarket it, how we can make it relevant again, to the audience. So these songs don't have to, just remain there and keep decaying. Basically, we just look for new ways to remarket these songs, and just go on. So the analysis was based on that song. So initially, I'm just going to show you. I pulled this data I used for this. I pulled the data from Chatmetric, because it's just there, it's open, it's easily accessible. So I just pulled the data from Chatmetric. If you do not know about Chatmetric, or if you do not know how to use Chatmetric, there was a whole session where we had representatives from Chatmetric yesterday. I learned a lot from the session. So maybe you might want to go back and watch that to understand, what you can do with that data aggregator tool. So basically, and then before I conduct an analysis, or when I open a streaming platform or a social media platform, or a data aggregator tool, whatever it is I'm opening to understand what's happening, the first question I ask myself is what's happening. I go in there, as a blank slate. I do not know anything. I'm just there to understand what's happening. That clears my mind. I'm going in there with no sentiments or no bias. So I'm trying to look at, what's happening. If anything is happening, fine. What's driving it? Or where is it happening? And when I figure out where it is happening, I answer the question of what is driving it. And then, if there's something driving it that we need to double down on, I prompt my team and like, oh team, this is what's happening. We need to double down on this because I'm seeing results here. Or oh team, this is where it is happening, so we need to double down on this. We need to look for strategies on how to conquer that territory or something. And a lot of times with the Afrobeats genre, the music is continuously moving. So it doesn't just remain in territory thanks to the help of, like I mentioned, technology and social media platforms. Whenever you release a song, it starts from a local territory and then it goes into similar markets, and then from that exported to other markets, and then before you know, it goes round. So basically, this this idea of asking what's happening is really helpful, in understanding how things are going. So I'm just going to show you how data I pulled from Chatmetric looks like. I'm just going to minimize my screen here. Sorry. Okay, so basically, this is how the data looked like. Um, so I pulled this is the streaming data. Okay, yeah, this is the streaming data. It shows from the date of release. Um, the days, because usually we just to understand what's happening, sometimes we measure in days, like, oh, when did the song go number one in day 5, when did it peak here in day 10. We try to understand, in days, so that it makes it really easy for you to like easily understand, or see the clear picture of things. And then basically, this is how I pulled data from Chatmetric. So this is how the data looked like. It was very clear. You have the streaming data, you have the daily change. It shows you the daily change. It shows you Shazam count. It shows you, like, the daily Shazam count. It shows you, TikTok posts when people are creating your sound, and then the change. Um so basically, I identified what data I wanted for this analysis, and then I just pulled it out. This table was merged, so I pulled out my streaming data differently. I pulled out my Shazam counts differently, and then I pulled out my TikTok data differently. And then, I just merged it. And then other things, I also, pulled out to understand or to help me with my analysis is Spotify followers. So I need to understand how my followership, grew over time, or from when, whatever happened. And then the good thing about this data is that it shows activities around, what happened. It shows the activity, so you can know what activity is affecting what. So, on this date, you had this amount of followers, and maybe you got that because you released the new music, or you hosted a concert, or appeared on TV, or you made an Instagram post, or you made a Twitter post, or a TikTok post, or whatever, that might have influenced your numbers. It just shows you, so you can easily connect the dots, or you can understand, what's happening, or what influenced what's happening. And then I also got the Spotify monthly listeners. It also tries to show you, all these things, like I said, whatever might have influenced your numbers, it also tries to show you. And TikTok followers as well. So um you can see your number of followers, you can see your change, over time, and you can see whenever you made, an Instagram post or a Twitter post, across platforms, to see how that might have impacted your number. So there's a lot of trend analysis that goes on in analyzing music data. And then we have Instagram followers. So this is just the data I pulled, and then I cleaned it, and then I analyzed it and got this chart. I didn't have to do something crazy. So basically, when it comes to this song, um, we can see that when TikTok posts in June and July, were just declining. Basically, month on month growth between June and July was declining, and then we can see that there's there's an increase, between July and August, or at the end of August, we can see there was an increase. So that means something happened on TikTok that started this, that engineered, or that made this increase happen. Then we can see it still going in September. We can see that the increase has almost gone like 4 times. So that means this is an exponential growth basically, and we can see that it goes as high as 3 million posts on in October. So basically, we can see that there's virality happening here, and then I mean, there's a peak and then it starts to decline. So in November, the number of TikTok posts or creates reduces, and then we see that in December it just starts to kind of stabilize. And then when that happens on TikTok, you also have to understand how your followership is growing on the platform, because we're still on TikTok platform. So basically, we see that followers, as usual, just like the post, started to decline between June and July. We can see that also the followership also started to decline for this particular artist between June and July. And we also see another decline in August. But then again, we see an exponential growth in September, and it just continues to decline, and then it starts to stabilize. And when we see that, we try to understand what is pushing this growth or where it is happening from. But I mean, we're going to look at that in later time. I'm just trying to explain, how this graph looks like. And then we see Shazam count, it starts to increase a bit between June and July, and then August, and then September, and then it grows in October and November, and then starts to decline, just like the rest starts to stabilize, between November and December. So it just starts to decline. So we can see that the trends and the patterns are the same. And then we see how that also goes on to affect the artist Instagram followership with almost the same kind of trend and pattern. So now that we have seen that, oh, this is happening, we try to understand um, where is it happening. So as a data analyst, sometimes I have to make reports, visualize data and make reports to show other music execs or other stakeholders what is happening, basically, because nobody wants to just look at the numbers. Nobody wants to look at spreadsheets with a lot of numbers. It could be really confusing, especially for people who are on the creative part, or people who do not just want to look at the numbers. They just want you to translate that, to tell them what is happening, and then they know what to do, or you can tell them what to do. So basically, from this chart, we can see that. So some of data driven insights I'm going to be telling my team. Just imagine I'm speaking to my team. I'm going to be like, oh guys, TikTok posts declined by 19%, between June and July. But by the end of August, recreates and TikTok posts went up by 3,000%. And then I also outlined what caused this, due to the North African remix going viral on the platform. So there was a North African remix by a creator that went viral on the platform, and then more people started using the sound to create. Um, and then I go on to tell them how month-on-month growth continues. As TikTok post increases, that's more user generated content on the platform. With the sound, and and this is largely due to the different creative versions of the sound going viral. And then also, when it starts to decline, I tell the team that, oh, there is a 92% decline in TikTok posts by the end of November, but it goes on to increase by 4% in December. So we have to see how we can stabilize that, or what we can do, what marketing strategy we can do to make the most of that viral moment. So and I also state that this decline could be. So I try to state what might be the reason, looking at all data points and looking at, all the things I have at my fingertips, or all the knowledge I have at my fingertips, what could be causing this decline. So could be due to less recreate or more in-person interaction, as during that period the artists started going on tour in other territories. So basically, I'm just trying to show you an example of, the kind of insights you can get to give to your team. I mean, from this chart here, you can generate a lot of insights, and the beautiful thing about data analysis or music data analysis is, like, the more you look at it, the more you get to generate a lot of insight. The more ideas come to your head, the more, different courses come to your head. It could literally be anything, it could be everything. Like, you do not know, but you just keep looking at data and you just have more ideas or more insights as to what might be happening. And then we want to see how social engagement has now, poured over to affect streams. Because personally for me, I don't just look at social engagement. I see what's happening on the social side, and I want to understand how it translates to stream, and subsequently streaming revenue. So basically, I want to see how this social engagement, pours in to generate more streams for me. So on my end, for some releases or for some active campaigns we've done, I have seen a TikTok to Spotify to Shazam. I'm sorry, a TikTok to Shazam to Spotify pipeline. Also we have people from TikTok Shazamming the song. And for Shazam, I use that to measure artist discovery and then discover artists, and then to Spotify to listen, either Spotify or YouTube, any of the streaming platforms that you have connected to your Shazam, to listen to this artist. So there's a pipeline from the social platforms, to the artist discovery platform, and then down to the streaming platform. And that trickles into revenue for me. So basically, I now want to see Spotify streams, what Spotify streams are doing. And then these little orange boxes, you can see literally the percentage change, month on month. And then we can see that the trend is still is kind of still similar with what's happening on the social angle. So basically, we can see that pipeline is going. And then I also check, my Spotify followers, because more I'm getting new audiences, I'm getting more people, streaming my music. So I expect that my followership would grow and my monthly listeners, would grow. I expect that this growth is going to reflect in all these parts. I expect that, I'm going to start. There's some other data points I didn't add here. I expect that, I'm going to start appearing on charts, on playlists. I'm going to get good spots on, good playlist, editorial playlist as well, and that just keeps, increasing increasing my streams, or growing me as an artist, or bringing more growth, to me. So basically, these are lots of the data points I look at. And then another thing I look at is not just when it's going good. When it's going bad, I try to understand, oh, what can we do to salvage this situation? It is going bad. So for instance, if I was on a particular trajectory and it starts to decline, I'm like, okay, this is starting to decline. What can we do to raise it up? What can we do to take increase streams, or put the grow streams basically? Or are there any strategies, or are there any new markets we can go into so we can get more streams, since we've conquered some other markets? So basically, these are things. These are just some of the few data points. They are a lot. Like I said, there are a lot. So now data driven insights, Spotify streams increased by about 5.7 thousand% in September, as well as Shazam's, which saw a 291% increase within the same period. So we can see that Shazam's and Spotify, streams increased. And then monthly listeners initially before the period of August and September were on a decline, but they grew by the end of August, and then further we saw further growth by September, and then we also saw growth in Spotify followers basically. And then what's the result of this analysis? When everything has been done, data driven insights, now we need actions, because that is why we're analyzing data. That's why we're trying to understand what is happening. So we see that, so the first thing I noticed, this song started taking off about 642 days after release. What might have prompted that? What might have pushed that? So I go on to other platforms, all the platforms, to understand, what might have happened, that triggered this growth. And then I see there's a possible trigger, and it's a not African remix of the sound on TikTok, which had about 491,000 recreates on TikTok. 3 days after the artist, vibe to the sound or use the sound in creating content. And then now what has that done for the artist? There's been more engagement, there's been more TikTok creates, because now more people are jumping on the sound. There's new sounds and remixes, because as After that sound, I think there were like 4 or 5 more sounds. The artist also, created an acoustic version of the sound. Just created new, because the artists have seen that, oh, a new remix, made the song go. So the artist is, trying to see if infusing, or making new sounds, or tweaking the sounds in some way is also going to, attract new ways that the fans, engage with his sound, and bring new audiences to him. And then, so what's the result of that? We see increase in Shazams, which is literally artist discovery. We see increase in artist engagement. We see social media growth engagement, new audiences, because this song was released, in Nigeria, in Lagos. The primary market for that song, or where the market was streaming the most, was in Lagos. But now that somebody from a different territory has, found a way to, you know use the sound, now the artist has just automatically entered into that territory and entered into a new market. So there's been increase in new audiences, or the artist has gained new audiences. And then what does that show? Ticket sales. So after in September, the song won or topped the global Shazam chart for the best the first African, song to top the global Shazam charts, worldwide. And then the artist started going on tour in UK, in Europe, in, across the world. So obviously ticket sales increased, so which increased revenue. So we've generated more streaming revenue, we've generated more tour revenue, and maybe revenue in other aspects that I haven't shown, in this analysis. So basically, that is just a glance into like the thought process. There's a lot more. There's more nuances, to this. Yeah, like I said, I tried to answer the question of where is it happening. So this is just a screenshot. We see that CK posted his video with the sound on 28th of August 2021. And we can see that the likes on the sound is about 240K, with few shares and comments and saves. And then we can see that in 2nd of September 2021 as well. We see that likes has increased to 610K, with more shares and more saves. So obviously, like, more people are, getting into the sound. And then we see same 2nd of September, he posts the remix, with a new content, and then that has gathered about 1.9 million likes. So that's a lot more views. So that is virality right there. And this artist is smart. This artist know, oh, that things are happening right now, and he wants to make the most of what's happening. He's literally using TikTok as a tool, for artist marketing and for his song marketing. And basically, I think that that's one thing artists need to understand, that you need to see social media platforms as tools. It's not just a platform for you to just, be aesthetically pleasing. I mean, you have to look at it as tools, and you have to look at the best ways you can maximize, your presence on this platform, to engage your audience, to convert your audience, to get into new markets, to get new partnerships and collaborations, and whatever you can from these platforms. You need to start seeing social media platforms as tools, not just streaming platforms. So basically, we see that he posted a video on 2nd of September, and then on 3rd of September he posted another video, and this video went on to have 5.8 million likes. So we can see that the and this was a new sound. This was the acoustic version. So he has introduced a new sound, to the platform, so people are interacting with the music more and in entirely different ways. And that's just exciting to see what, smart marketing. And then in 27th of September, he posted another video with another sound, that was remixed. And then that sound went on to do 2.4 million views. So now the artist, has grown, is getting more, what they call it, more creates, more audiences, more people using his sound. And the good thing about using social media is that, or the good thing about social media and music that I like to see, is that um a lot of times, or sometimes, it's not just the marketing department coming up with strategies, coming up with creating creative strategies. not just the marketing department, the R&R, whoever is in charge of that. It's not just them coming up with creative strategies on how to use or on content on social media platforms. We now have user generated content where the users literally show you what they can do with the sound. They show you different ways, they can use the sound. They show you different ways that the sound can go, and it's exciting to see because you did not have this idea, and people are bringing new ideas, new point of views, and using your music in very diverse ways, and it's really exciting. We are learning from the audience, we are learning from the fans all the time. And then right here, you see in 13th of November, he goes on to have a show in London. He had some in Europe, and he started going on tours. He started, maximizing his revenue, trying to get the bag as much as he can. And then we can see that a lot of it is happening on TikTok. But does it stay on TikTok alone? No. So the artist, seeds back into visual platforms like Instagram. It might have started on TikTok, but he puts it around, to build his other engagement platforms, his other social media platforms. So we see that on Instagram, he uploads the video of the sound on 5th September. We see that he also, uses Instagram to celebrate his wins. We see he uses Instagram, as a platform to toot his horn, to just showcase what the song is doing, to celebrate his success. So he's found a different way. He's found a different way of how to use Instagram as a tool. He's getting new audiences on TikTok. He's also maintaining his Instagram audiences. He's updating them on what is happening. He's being featured everywhere, and he's putting it up on his Instagram. He's blowing his horn. Even when he's chatting comes up, he shows it on Instagram. To blow his horn, and he's found a new way to use Instagram, basically. And then now, these are just media features. A lot of these media features happened in October. That also helps increase his audience. That also introduces him to new audiences. That helps, increase his growth. And it's an Afrobeat song. That is literally how the song is growing on a global scale. In November, he has more media features. And then the smart thing he does is that he releases a video to the viral sound in November, when he starts to see, that there's been, decline in streams, decline in TikTok create, decline in, Shazam's, artist discovery, whatever, he got in October, that was the peak period, is starting to decline. He smartly introduces the video, and the video went on to do amazing numbers, which helped hold the streams, for a period of time. So literally this is just awesome smart marketing to me. And this is, one of the ways we use data analysis in the music industry. And you can see the time frame literally as it's happening. People are on top of things. Sometimes you do not have the time to go through wrangling data, or downloading data, going through all that whole extraction processes. Sometimes you just need to look at the back end of things to understand what's happening, put two and two so it can be fast. Because it's very important that you make your moves as fast as possible while it is still happening. And then, this is just a video. And when he has the video on YouTube, he posts it up on his Instagram, to show what the video is doing on Instagram, and or he's basically tooting his horn on Instagram. And then basically, oh, thank God. So we've come to the almost the end, where we are looking ahead to what the future looks like, for Afrobeat. So mainstream appeal. So the genre is likely to continue its ascent into mainstream consciousness, potentially becoming a dominant force in pop music. This might lead to, or there's a possibility that this mainstream appeal is going to lead to more diverse subgenres, because Afrobeats came from Afrobeats, and a lot of times we play with a lot of other words, Afrofusion, Afro, whatever it could be, basically. And then more international collaborations with international artists. Then we have the regional variations, where Afrobeat does not just exist in a vacuum. It doesn't just exist, in the local territory here. It also exists in other local scenes in other parts of West Africa, or maybe in other parts of the world as well. So all these regional variations will continue to evolve, adding their own unique flavor, to the genre. And then we're going to see technological advancements with the advancement of streaming platforms. You know, there's going to be live streaming, virtual concerts. Social media platforms. Bringing new updates. As time goes on, there's going to be a lot of technological advancements, and Afrobeats, is going to just, grow with these technological advancements, and audiences are going to be interacting with the sound in very, very different ways. And I mean, I'm excited to see that happen. And then how data analytics or analysis is going to help in this is that basically, as a data analyst, in the coming years, I'm going to be on top of my game, in understanding trends and new audiences, identifying emerging, subgenres, popular artists by analyzing streaming data, social media trends, concert attendance. Um, you know this is going to help me, pinpoint new stars, pinpoint new territories, where this song can go, or where this, sound can go in, or can be grown in, or can be promoted in. And then basically, also as a data analyst, or as a music data analyst, we're going to be optimizing marketing. I mean, we're already optimizing marketing, but yeah, marketing, we're just going to keep optimizing marketing and distribution strategies. And then we're going to, keep understanding fan engagement, analyzing social media interactions, website traffic, whatever data. Basically, we're just going to be on top of the game to understand how the market is moving, understanding trends and patterns, and just staying ahead, and promoting the genre. And then navigating the global landscape, we're going to be, like I said, identifying lucrative international markets that this sound can be promoted in better ways. This data can help artists and record labels pinpoint regions with high interest in Afrobeats, informing touring and marketing strategies. And then we're going to understand, more cultural preferences. Basically, when we export Afrobeats, we're not just exporting music alone, we're exporting, our culture, our fashion, a bit of a lifestyle. And it's not just we exporting alone. Well, basically what technology, has helped us do is exchange a lot of these things. So we're going to, keep understanding, keep looking at all these cultural preferences, and how analyzing data from different regions, and how this can help artists adapt their sound or messaging to resonate with diverse audiences. Of course, without compromising authenticity, because the one thing, or the first thing, or the major thing we're all about is authenticity in our sound. So thank you for this. I'm just going to go ahead to take questions now. These are my social media platforms. If you have any external questions or whatever, you can always reach me on social media, or you can connect with me on social media, or you can just shoot me an email. I'm I'm I'm, I'm always there. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much. We are basically out of time, so we have time for maybe we could do one question. So let's get one question in here. I've started them on the right hand side there, so you can pick out what you want to answer.
Okay. All right. So, do you think that Nigerian dialect still plays a key role in the composition of a commercially successful Afrobeat song for Nigerian artists? Yes, I do. I do, because I mean, we are talking about our authenticity here. A lot of the Afrobeat song you listen to, you hear a lot of the Nigerian dialect in it. So yes, it still plays a key role, because that's just who we are. That's part of the sound. That's what makes Afrobeats what Afrobeats is. So yes, that's I think yes, Nigerian dialect still plays a key role in the composition of songs. So um okay, I'm just looking. Um How did you extract the data on the CSV files? Oh, so like I said, I just used Chatmetric, and it's like pretty clear. There was a session, where there was a live demo from Chatmetric yesterday. You can go back to rewatch that session, and then you just understand. But basically, you can just pull it out. The data is available in different forms. You can pull out in PNG, you can pull out in CSV, you can pull out in Excel, whatever format you need it to be, it's just there on the platform. They have different options, for you to pull out this data, and then it's just pretty easy on the platform. Um okay, I don't think I see more questions. Really interesting that I took off with TikTok after the release date. Yeah. I think this goes on to show that like I said, a lot of times as an artist, because a song doesn't take off the way you want it, you don't just drop it, you don't just leave it, you don't just abandon it. Like I said, I go into a platform to understand what's happening anywhere with any of the songs on the catalog, and whenever there's anything happening, you just pick it from there. It could be an old song from 2 years ago, could be a song from 5 years ago. We've seen songs, old songs on artist catalog blowing up. Is not This is not the first time. So I mean, it's your music, you created it. At any time it starts to pop, you have to, bask in the success of what it's doing. It's never late. It's never late.
Absolutely. Okay. I We're gonna have to wrap this up, but someone has asked if you can share your social handles one more time.
Yeah. Literally, I'm Ezine OKK on LinkedIn. It's just plain, and then let me just share my screen here.
And on the conference platform, if you go to the conference page and click on her speaker image, you'll see her socials, her LinkedIn there as well, so you can reach out.
Yeah. So basically, this is my social media platform, or
There
these are
we
my
go.
social handles at the Ezine on Instagram and Twitter, and then Ezine OKK on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's my social media handles.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I know everyone really, really enjoyed this. I know this is a topic that you could talk about forever. So I
Yeah.
was thrilled to bring you here.
Thank you so much, Christine, for having me. This was such an exciting one, really.
Oh,
I
you're
mean, I
very
can never
welcome.
get tired of talking
Thanks.
about it. So
Thank you for joining.
yeah.
I think everyone really enjoyed it. As a fellow Nigerian, I love getting to highlight Afrobeats anytime it's possible. So here we are. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. We have a 10-minute break so everyone can get reacclimated before our keynote talk. Have a great time, and we'll see you in the next session soon. And hopefully, you watch more of the conference. I'll see you later.
So much. All right.
Bye, everybody.